Good morning, America. As always, your friend Dr. Turi. Today we are the 26th. This energy of the beginning or ending of important phases of life has started. I believe the maximum impact will be in a couple of days, maybe 3 days. And then we're going to have a very, very serious release of energy that will be pretty shocking. So be prepared, be prepared. And why do I say that? Mostly because if you look at the news today, there is a report that mentioned that President Trump floated the idea of using nukes to stop hurricane. Oh my God, this is totally, totally insane. It's like making the situation a trillion times worse because of what the residue of the nukes or the legacy of the nukes mixed with water droplet could do to nature. I mean, you know what? There is no way around it. Sad enough, the reality is our president is reptilian infected, and his mental process is totally out of the norm. I mean, mine is crazy and is out of the norm, but it obviously his is absolutely out of order. Put it this way. So I hope that you know you will realize that it is actually the scientific infected matrix that is slowly but surely destroying all of us, because the reptilians have infected the mind of those engineers, and it's all about killing, destroying, eliminating. The technology is not always used progressively, and that's where we are. Looking at the news today, 7 dead after helicopter plane collision. I mean, this is so sad. All these people wanted to have a great time out there in Mallorca, in Spain, I think. And the next thing you know, they're all dead. You know, you have to be cautious when you do things. You cannot go anywhere when you feel like, because as I said a million times, you are playing Russian roulette with your life, and air is the result. I'm sorry, my back. Okay. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I have a meeting with my surgeon today. I was supposed to meet him in a few days from now, on September the 4th. Instead, they have decided to see me today, beginning and ending of a very important phases of life. I'm supposed to meet my 2 doctors today. One is to say goodbye, thank you for the surgery, I really appreciate that. And the other one is to check on my back and maybe have another surgery. So just keeping you aware of how those energy are affecting you on a personal level. Okay, so if you heard my video yesterday, I already warned you about it, and now here goes the results. So that's good news for me. I don't have to suffer that much, because it's absolutely not normal to have like a stabbing pain anytime I breathe when I try to move, making it very hard for me to sleep. What else do we have? 3 dead, 4 injured in shooting at the New Mexico party. You know, the beauty about the news or the weather is that it never stops. And you know, the news repeat themselves. Everything repeats themselves. It's just the way it is, and those windows are an eternal repetition of what's going on in life. So once you're aware of it, you can apply your will and, you know, avoid making stupid mistakes to hang around in the middle of the night during those negative cosmic winds. And pay the ultimate price. Indian girl's throat slit in spate of deadly kite accident. You go again, you know, that little girl playing with a kite. Next thing you know, she's on the back of a bike, I think, moped of a dad. Thing goes to her head and killed her. The reptilians will do absolutely anything. If the stars are lined up in the way they need to destroy you, they will do it. Air Force Base to add days off after recent suicide. This is a big one. This is really upsetting to me, and it should be to you too. I mean, you're talking about our servants here. You're talking about the people that are dedicated to keep us free and fighting and risking their life. Now, you know, they're either killed by losers road rage accidents, Americans, or they just commit suicide. Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Khaled Wright, said in a video early this month, the number of suicides so far in 2019 is 78, and 28 higher for the same time period during 2018. We lose more airmen to suicide than any other single enemy, even more than combat. Isn't that terrible? A chart in the Department of Defense suicide even report for 2017 shows that from 2015 to 2017, the Air Force had about 60 active duty suicide per year, about 10 amongst reservists and 12 to 21 suicides amongst the Air Guards. I mean, that should really, really scare you, people. Reasons are endless. Reasons are real. It could be anything. It could be anything from total degeneration. So now they're going to give them days off. And do you think that's going to work? Giving days off? I don't think that's going to work. You need to understand those guys are in a base. I was in a base in Kwajalein in the Marshall Islands. Okay. Those guys are constantly bombarded by electromagnetic field. And it's important to remember that the MK Ultra, I'm sure you heard of it, the Russian, you are still using it. Don't think that anything to do with the mind and technology and radio frequency, weaponry, microwave radiation, God knows what they're doing out there. And that's going to their head. So there is definitely a result, okay? I told you I was there on these islands, and at least 3 or 4 times the alarm went in some of their buildings. That tells you that something is going out of order. And those radio frequencies are going all over the place. They are testing all sorts of things out there. So, for every action, there is an equal reaction. It's not normal. And guess what? Even this is going to hurt you. So, this is what technology do. It can help you to fix my back, fix my hip, and at the same time, it can kill you. But you can still handle all of that if you regenerate from the magnetic field of the earth. Those soldiers wear boots are thick like that, okay? Most of the time, they are on concrete, on wood floor, on carpet. They are on their tires, on the airports, so they are not connecting with Mother Earth. They have the best of the best natural healing process taking place on those atolls. They could take their shoes off and walk on the sand, walk on the at the junction of the water and the sand and regenerate. But most of their time is spent in the office working, digging, and then at the end, they degenerate and they kill themselves. It's important to realize that microwave radiation, that is not something you mess around with. It's real. Your brain is reacting to an outside stimuli produced by the stars from the universal mind, because your mind is nothing else than a computer, okay? And these are interferences. So not only at the psychical level you're being disturbed, but you're also not regenerating from the earth. Remember, your body is symmetrical. You have 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 sides of the brain, positive, negative, up and down, black and white, the front, the back, God, devil. So you're constantly being pulled from positive to negative. So if you constantly degenerate, okay, you're going to be unbalanced. You're going to be imbalanced. And in the process, you're going to degenerate. And the end result, you're going to commit suicide. Are they going to stop that? I don't think so. They're going to get people out there, we're going to get some motivational speakers. We're going to bring you to listen to people that are going to help you. That's going to do the job, don't get me wrong. But the problem I have is those people are not cosmic conscious. They're highly educated. They are top of the top, very famous, well-known speakers, but they are not cosmic conscious. They do not know that each person is unique. A person will react to a situation, to a word, to a behavior, to a feeling a very different way than you do. Okay, and those people are traditionally educated, and they are not going to help those kids in the long run. That you will never ever stop. In fact, it's going to get much worse, and it's part of my predictions. The reality is adding days off depend on what they're going to do. What are they going to do? They are missing their family so bad. They're going to jump on their phone. They're going to jump on their computer, and they're going to communicate and trying to regenerate with their families. It ain't going to work because they can only regenerate at the spiritual level. Their battery is still empty. They need to connect with Mother Earth. They need to hug a big tree. They need to swim. They need to breathe fresh air. They need to stop being bombarded by all this radio frequency, which is the weaponry they are developing and has been developed and used by the Russian. Remember, Russia is a Scorpio country. Scorpio is ruled and controlled by Pluto, the planet of death, drama, the underworld. Okay, this planet rules Russia. That's why Russia are using technology, very destructive technology. And what they did with MK Ultra over the years is absolutely insane by digging into people's brain, trying to affect their the mental process to win war. It's like messing up the weather, like our president wants to do it. He wants to nuke the freaking cloud. Do you think that's normal thinking? Your president is infected. You need to understand when I tell you the reptilians are going to put those people on top, because the damage they are able to do and the killing, the mass killing they're able to produce supports the reptilian agenda. And goes Dr. Turi trying to tell you things are much too crazy to assimilate, to comprehend, or talk about now accepting it. And then you wonder why people are kicking me out of every major public news media, or why they're kicking me out of every website for saying things like that. It's very little people who are able to not only understand but appreciate what I'm saying. So it's all generated and guided by the reptilians that infected the brain of all our scientists. The majority of our scientists are producing technology. They are producing radio frequency weaponry. They are producing all sorts of experiment. Again, MK Ultra is just the same thing. It's the same thing. It's manipulating the brain the wrong way to kill. And that is definitely what the reptilians wants. At that point, yesterday we talked about the 5 surprising depression facts. If the link is alive, again, as I said, go and click on it and read what these scientists are saying. Yeah, we can help you with good words. We can help you with this, with that, exercise, dieting, all that good stuff. And especially if you take this medication. Now, this is another advertisement. Medication, sudden enough, I need medication. If I could, I'm going to be going and see this doctor later on, okay, 11:45. I need painkiller just to go there to make sure I can move, at least to go there. So, but I'm trying not to assign myself to indoctrinate myself to what they said about this medication. Because it could become an addiction, and then I pay the price in the long run. I want to keep my head straight. I want to be as healthy as I can. But when you get to my age, that's where you start to break down. So yeah, I might not look my age, but I feel it. So lucky for me, I was able with that surgery to get rid of the pain on my hip. Now it's my back. What's next? No, well, anyway, so, that's why it's important to stay natural as much as you can. We are not living like we used to, very close to Mother Earth. The air is poison. Your water is poison. Your president is actually killing the Clean Water Act so we can dig and get more oil to poison more air and kill the wildlife. There is fire everywhere in the Amazon. The entire Earth's lungs are being poisoned, and you wonder why little human beings are killing themselves nonstop, and why you would never stop it. It's gonna get much worse. Now, again, remember, the reptilians are from Pluto, the planet of death, drama, the underworld, dying and rebirthing. The most obvious proof of that is that Russia, or the USSR, died and became Russia. This country died. There's only one country in the world who died, is Russia, and they were able to rebirth. So this is why this country has experienced the worst of the worst of the worst in terms of destruction during the Second World War, okay? And then they have so much fear of the West or the East. They have so much fear, like the Americans have so much fear, and Europe now have so much fear. This is exactly what the reptilians are doing. So all I can tell you is that Draco is telling me that there is some real bad news coming from Russia. Not only from, but for Russia. See what happened already, okay? They have had the tap of the hand. That nuke place that exploded and messed up the environment again. The next thing you know, now they are putting their nuke on a barge, because polluting the air is not enough. And if something happens, it's going to pollute the ocean. And then that's the food source for a lot of people who like shrimps and lobster tails. Do that make sense? The entire fish industry could be easily ruined if something happened like that. So they're not learning. They're not learning. They keep pushing. Their scientists are still working for the reptilian agenda. So because of all they're doing, there is a karma for this country. And I'm telling you, in 3-4 years from now, you're going to remember Dr. Turi. You're going to say, oh my God, he was right. You're going to see what happened to Russia. And then it might be just their own implosion. Draco is not feeding me as much information as I would like to share with you, because he has his limits, okay? It's no good in stimulating the negativity, but I have to go and get you. Another thing, yesterday, this guy, pitched at me. He says, hey, don't laugh at David Icke because of his view about, the Queen turning into a reptilian. I mean, you got to have at least a little bit of critical thinking. And especially when I gave you the explanation, David and I, we came from a long way. We are the product of the Truth Seeker Company in San Diego in before 1995. We were talking to each other. The reason why David is David Icke today is because they gave him hundreds of thousands of dollars. They didn't give me nothing. That's why I'm still there, working my butt off. If I had, a limousine to pick me up at the airport when you arrive there, if I had $1 million home to sit there and do nothing and just talk and then have a big fat contract of hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe Dr. Turi will be all over the place. But it didn't happen this way, because the reptilians are putting people in power that they can manipulate. Me, it don't exist. I only had one book with the Truth Seeker, and they're getting all the right. I don't get no money for my books. I was young. I was stupid. So when I told David, I repeat it. So if you are David's supporter, good for you. He's a genius in his own right, like I am, like you are, like anybody is. But understand that David is not educated in terms of the superconscious in time and space. It may be now because he's got all my books for free every year, and my guidance every year and for free. Okay, so understand what I'm trying to say, that each time you talk about the stars, it might be he picked that somewhere. Okay, and I'm not the only one to complain about that. That's the truth. If you can't handle it, it's nothing you can do. But I'm telling you what happened. When he told me I'm going to go to the Isle of Wight and I'm going to write a book about a reptilian. I says, David, the tail of the dragon is in your subconscious, in Pisces. Okay, what does it mean? It means that you're going to delegate with force that you may not be able to control or even understand. That was my warning, but that's between him and me. You were not there. You don't know. You may think, oh, he's making it up. And if you ask David, he's going to say, that's bullshit. No, it's the truth. I warned him. The next thing you know, after spending a week or month, because he didn't want to be disturbed by anybody. I know how his mind works. He's focused like hell when he writes a book. He doesn't want to answer a phone. Okay. That's where I made a mistake to connect with him and say, hey, I'm going to be on William Shatner TV show. Then he went berserk on me. Don't bother me with this sin, this and that. And we start to talk and communicate. And I told him, be careful about the reptilians, this and that. And then, and I told him, I made a mistake to tell him that the reptilians do not affect rich people only, but everybody from all walks of life. You, me, him. In fact, he's more infected than anybody else because he produces fear. Everybody that's protecting or endorsing David have fear. Fears of the government, fear of ending up in a concentration camp, fear of being manipulated, conspiratorial stuff. I'm not saying that it's not real. It is real, okay? I'm not denying its genius. I'm denying its lack of understanding of the superconscious. It saw those entities because all the element, all the cosmic winds, his negative cosmic biorhythm during those days was conjuncting one of a negative SOS to the world deadly window, and then there they go. He saw those ugly things, and he's not the only one to see these things. Evil is real. The devil is real. Satan is real. He saw these things and immediately associate this with his own fear of power. So whomever vibrates like David's UCI or unique celestial identity, who supports the same or endorses the same fears, will follow him. That's a given. It's like all of the people that are a little bit smarter and realize that not only the Queen, Obama, whomever turns into will never turn into a lizard, but are affected by the reptilians, then those people are going to follow me because they have a little bit more of rationale. Their UCI is less fearful and more rational, more practical, and they can relate to my cosmic wisdom. That's why we split, okay? Because I told him, you, me, and everybody else. He says, no, only the rich, powerful people control this world, the Illuminati. I tell you what, that day when we discussed each other's email, and he was pretty ugly, pretty infected, and I did all that I can to save my relationship with him. It didn't work. Okay, so again, one more time, I am not here to bash anybody or to tell you David is a lunatic and his work is not good. No, there is such a thing as conspiracy. Believe me, I know. Look at me. I'm not on Facebook anymore. As I said, I would not be again. Okay. LinkedIn, Wikipedia, they removed me. So conspiracy is undeniable. A lot of people hate me for who I am, for what I know, and for what I teach. We understand each other's, okay? Now, when you start to talk about this thing here, telling him he's going to predict earthquake in unusual place of the world, come on. I don't want to go there. Okay, so all I'm trying to tell you is that we've been challenging each other since that day, and we became enemies, so to speak, because he thinks that only the rich people turn into lizards. Excuse me, but it's too much for me. I can't handle so much stupidity. All right, but again, at the same time, he is a genius on his own right. Okay, we understand each other's? Okay, all right. Now, I wanted to mention that because a lot of people get offended. Don't get offended. Just remember, if that person watched me and heard me yesterday and laughing, which maybe I shouldn't have, but at the same time, instead of just judging it or assuming, he should have gone to my newsletter and read that basically, if you make people think, they love you. If you really make them think, then they're going to hate you. So I was right. Before his reaction, I wrote about it in the newsletter. Suddenly enough, he probably read the newsletter after and realized, oh, well, I behave like a jerk. because he knew exactly how I was going to respond emotionally, because I understand in the battle between logic and emotion, emotion always wins. And when you have been fed the same stuff since you're a child, okay, in respect to religion, of course you're going to become another ISIS. Or if you've been fed with science, you're going to become an atheist. That's a given. Okay, and if you've been fed with conspiracy, and then the queen is going to turn into a lizard, well, that's your reality. And here goes Dr. Turi telling you something else. Of course, you're going to have a little bit of a problem to upgrade your psychical response to the new information I'm presenting. Then now you have to sit back, you have to relax, and you have to realize, okay, are those entities only affecting the very powerful and turn them into a lizard? Or like Dr. Turi says, is everybody being affected from all walks of life and behave like a jerk because they are degenerating? That's all there is. So do your homework, auto-analyze yourself, and see who is right and who is wrong. And at the end, I don't care. It's your choice. It's not me. I'm not here to convince you, okay? I'm here to tell you what I know. And all roads lead to Rome. So whatever David has to say, what any other UFO speaker has to say, has something very valuable. And so do I. That's all there is. All is that, and that is all. All right, now that I've explained all this, I wish I had better news for you about this endless chain of suicide that I've seen years ago unfolding in front of our eyes today. And at least they're trying to do the best. Sad enough, as I said earlier, those psychologists and psychiatrists have been traditionally educated. They have no cosmic consciousness. They do not understand the human being. Depending on the planet that is affecting the 12th house, which is the subconscious, they're going to have a different reaction to delegating the forces coming from the superconscious in time and space. So that's too much information. It's too deep information. So if you never read my book, Beyond the Secret, you're going to be miles behind. But if you investigate and read this book and upgrade your physical vibration and start to understand what I'm talking about through my own experiences, then maybe you're going to vibrate at my speed. And then, not asking you to be a supporter, but at least understand where I'm coming from. Don't misjudge me for trying to help you every single day for free. Okay? It's a little bit more than a lot of these big guys out there, okay, going to the bank with big fat bank accounts, be on top, doing for you every day. Okay, I'm not here to tell you we're doomed, we are finished. I'm going where you are, down the depression, the negative, the soup, the hell. And I'm trying to bring you up towards the forces of the sun, towards the draconis, giving you that breath of life, that regeneration principle you desperately need to survive in this crazy negative hell we call Earth. That's where you're at, on hell. Now, being cosmic conscious means you can control your stars, you can control your future, and you can be part of the solution. And instead of being negative, follow the direction, connect with Mother Earth, do all that you have to do. If you can't sleep, don't sleep in the dark. Okay, leave a little light. The reptilians hate anything that is light. If you really have a problem sleeping, then get a little fountain. The negative ion of the water would attract the reptilians, and they will let you sleep alone. Okay, if you can't sleep, maybe it's because you have too much time in your hand. You're not tired enough. Just go and do some running out there. Take your shoes off. Just do things. Burn that energy. Because the less you do, the less your subconscious will give you the power you need to do more. It's how it works. Okay, you don't use it, you lose it. Everything. Good things we have Viagra. No, that's nasty. I love it. I hope I make you laugh. All right, guys. So let's hope our crazy president will not order to nuke the cloud to stop hurricane. I never, ever thought in a million years I would discuss such a stupidity. But I guess there is no, like Einstein says, there is no limit to stupidity. I guess the guy was right. All right, my good friend. I want to leave you on a happy note, because the state of this world is not exactly progressive or positive right now. But, we can only hope. And I do hope I do hope that you're going to join me and be more positive and throw jokes sometimes and do your part. Do your part. Share what I have, because people need to laugh. People need to be happy. People need to regenerate. All right, guys, make it a beautiful day. Bye-bye.